Today I'm having a look at the K2 Versatile Magnetic Filter System by Freewell. Now I am one of those lucky people that is on the list to have access prior to release to the Freewell system. Something that Freewell does that a lot of other providers don't that I work with, they actually send out the stuff prior to release and ask you for feedback, and they actually change the product prior to release. And there have been some tweaks on this product prior to release as well. So I like that. They're not just sort of buttering the bread of influencers and sort of trying to get them to talk about their products. They're actually reaching out to those influencers and they're allowing them to take part in the development and improvement of the product prior to release to the public. Now, the cool thing about this system and what makes it unique is that it is actually designed to replace a traditional circular filter system as well as a square filter system. So traditionally you would have two different types of filter systems, and Freewell's old magnetic filter system was a circular filter system. You couldn't use square filters in that system. And then if you were doing landscape and you wanted to use a graduated filter, something like this, and this just allows you to darken the sky, but sort of leave the sea or the ground level sort of properly or normally exposed, and so that you get that proper exposure across the bright sky as well as the darker ground. You had to use a different type of filter system, a filter system that accepted square filters, or what you would call a square or rectangular filter system. What Freewell has done, and it all pretty much fits in this little package, is they have released a system that does both of those things. So this can be your sort of landscape photography square filter system, but it can also be your variable ND sort of filmmaking filter system. And first of all, they give you a series of step-up rings. So depending on what size the filter thread is on your lens, that's what step-up ring you're going to use. I've got an 82 millimeter thread here, so I put the 82 millimeter thread on. And then the actual filter holder itself has these two little things that you just sort of push in on either side. And you push those in, and then you push it straight on, and then you clamp it in position. Now what you want to do is just make sure that you have got that level. So it's actually got a little level on the back of it, so you can see you've got it level. And then when it's level, you twist these two little knobs, and that just clamps it down. Now that's not going anywhere. So now we've got it clamped in place. And by default, it has the VND base magnetically attached in the filter right now. So that's just the VND base. And with that in, that is going to allow me to put a variable ND filter on. And there's two that come in the kit. One is the 1:5 and the other is the 6:9. The important thing about kits that come with two separate filters to cover the range, a 1:5 and a 6:9, this is done because it helps stop that X mark that you get across the image with wide angle lenses when you have a variable ND filter that actually tries to cover a huge range. If you have one that covers a huge range, you're going to get this X pattern across the frame. So what they do is they develop two filters, and that sort of eliminates that problem. Now I just popped this on here, and now I've got my now it's on. Okay, I've got my 1:5 stop. Now, one thing that is a little bit funny, and all the Freewell filter systems are like this, there's this tiny little mark on the side that lets you know what you're on. So it's 1:5, and you just twist it. It also has hard stops, so you can't go beyond or go into a range that you shouldn't be using. Beyond that, you just take that off. That's our 1:5. This is our 6:9 magnetically on. All right, now we're in 6:9. Smaller range on that, but once again, hard stops. So say I am out doing landscape or seascape. That's something I like to do, seascape. And I like to do a long exposure seascape where all the water gets all sort of, looks like an ethereal white sort of cloud on the water, or a long exposure where all the ripples are taken out and you get this very, very smooth sort of glass-like surface area. Those are a couple of shots that I like to do in landscape. I can be out traveling around. I can have my 1:5 on, and I'll be using that for my filmmaking. And then when I get to the location, I can take my 1:5 off. I'll put my 6:9 on, because that's going to allow me to get those 9 stops of ND, which are going to really smooth that water out. So I'm at the water side, but now I've got the issue where the sky is overexposed and the water is sort of underexposed, or I'm having trouble balancing that exposure. that's when you use one of these graduated ND filters. In the past, I would actually have to take the system off and I would have to put on my separate square filter system. This has these little sort of levers that come back. This is so clever. These little levers that come back on the front and the bottom, and that reveals this hidden slot that you put in your graduated ND filter. And so I slide that up and down until I find where the horizon is, and that is going to be where my graduation line is. In addition to that, sometimes like maybe I'll have a mountain or have something where I don't actually want it to be dead level. Now I have set this up dead level using the level in the actual back of the filter system itself. But say I want to put it on an angle because I've got the sea and then I've got a mountain and I don't want to sort of put that ND over the mountain. I just loosen these up and now it can turn and I can change the horizon any way I want. So I'll do that. Now I'm sort of got the ND filter or the graduated ND filter just covering the sky, and I've sort of got that mountain sort of falling into the range down below where I've actually got sort of no ND in place. Now, another problem I have with a lot of ND filters is the fact that a lot of them, in fact, some of the most premium ones out there are designed so you can't even put a lens cap on them, which I think is crazy. It means that if you want to protect the front element or the front of that filter, or if you want to protect your sensor from getting light just spraying into it, you actually have to take the whole filter off. Well, this comes with a magnetic lens cap that just pops on the front there. Now, there is a bit of a trick to actually taking this off without taking off the filter that's underneath. And I just put one thumb on and then I pull that off. But there are times that you can end up pulling the whole thing off. And right now it's behaving pretty well and it's not coming off. But at times you will find that, yeah, so there it came off. So if that happens to you, just put a little pressure on the filter and take it off like that. In addition to the graduated ND, there are a couple of others they sent me. This is a streak filter. This is a gold streak filter, which kind of gives you like a bit of an anamorphic looking effect. And then the other one that they sent me is a mist filter, and this one is called a snow mist filter. It's a 1/8 snow mist filter. And this is just gonna give you that more soft, dreamy Hollywood image looking effect. This is just my initial impression of this filter system, and I will do some follow-up videos once I get a chance to do a bit more landscape photography with it, but I have found it to be super versatile, and I have really enjoyed using it. And I'm not sure exactly what the pricing is, but I think it's gonna be about $150 off for the super early bird pricing. So I'll see what I can find out as far as links go, and anything I find out, I will link in the description down below.